Imagine a time when there were no planets, no stars, only a chaotic swirl of cosmic dust and gas. This was the early universe, a place of raw and unformed potential, where the only constants were change and chaos. This primordial universe was a violent and tumultuous place, where matter was not yet organized into the orderly systems we know today. It was a cosmic ocean, teeming with dust and gas, a nebulous soup from which the seeds of galaxies would eventually sprout. As the universe expanded, these elements started to gravitate towards each other, drawn by the irresistible pull of their mutual attraction. They started to clump together, forming larger and larger structures, which eventually gave rise to galaxies, stars, and planets. But this was not a quiet, peaceful process. No, it was a cataclysmic event, a cosmic storm of unimaginable scale and violence. Now let's zoom into one particular corner of this chaotic universe. Among the countless clouds of dust and gas, there was one particular nebula that stood out. A nebula, for those not in the know, is essentially a stellar nursery. It's a cloud of gas and dust where stars are born. In this nebula, something extraordinary was happening. Amidst the swirling chaos, a new structure was beginning to form. Dust and gas were coming together, coalescing into a dense, hot core. This was the birth of a star, a process that takes millions of years. The pressure and heat at the core of this forming star were increasing, setting the stage for the next step in the star's life, nuclear fusion. As the dust and gas continued to collapse under its own gravity, the temperature and pressure at the core reached a critical point. The stage was set, the actors in place, the cosmic drama about to unfold. And in the heart of this nebula, a new star was about to burst onto the cosmic stage. In the midst of chaos, a new star was about to be born, our sun. In this cosmic whirlpool, something extraordinary started to happen. A force as old as the universe itself began to take hold. Gravity, the invisible architect, began to draw the particles within the nebula closer and closer. As these particles, dust and gas, huddled together, an incredible thing occurred. The pressure and temperature within this celestial gathering started to rise. It was as if the heart of the nebula was coming alive, pulsating with a growing heat. Then, in the very core of this heated mass, a process began that would forever change the face of the cosmos. Fusion ignited, light elements began to combine into heavier ones, releasing a staggering amount of energy in the process. This was no ordinary birth. It was a birth heralded by light and heat, a birth that would illuminate the darkness and warm the cold void. And thus, in a fiery burst of energy, our sun was born. Around this newborn star, the remnants of the nebula started an intricate dance. Imagine the stage set for a cosmic ballet, with dust and gas particles playing the principal roles. In the radiant glow of the newborn sun, these particles embarked on an orbital journey, bound by the gravitational pull of the central star. Each particle, carrying a part of the nebula's legacy, began to dance around the sun, tracing elliptical paths in the space around it. This was not a serene waltz but a chaotic mosh pit, with particles constantly jostling and colliding with each other. Now picture this, in the midst of this celestial chaos, something remarkable happened. These particles, when they collided, didn't just bounce off each other, they began to stick together, like cosmic glue binding them into larger and larger clumps. This process, known as accretion, was the first step in the birth of planets. These clumps, or protoplanets, grew over time, their increased mass pulling in more and more particles. But this growth was not a peaceful process, far from it. The protoplanets were constantly smashing into each other in violent collisions, their impact so powerful they could reshape these early bodies. Imagine two protoplanets spiraling towards each other, drawn by their mutual gravity. The moment of impact would have been cataclysmic, sending shockwaves through the protoplanet and often completely demolishing it. But from this destruction emerged creation. The debris from these collisions would eventually coalesce again, forming new bodies, and the dance would continue. This cycle of creation and destruction, this planetary dance, played out over millions of years, slowly but surely sculpting the raw materials of the nebula into the familiar shapes of planets. This was an era of intense violence and constant change, a time when nothing remained constant for long. But it was this very chaos, this violent dance, that gave birth to the planets we see today. After countless collisions and transformations, the planets as we know them started to take shape. The dance had changed, but it never truly ended. Even today, the remnants of this dance continue to shape our solar system. In the violent ballet of cosmic bodies, our solar system began to emerge. The stage was set, the actors in place. The early days of our solar system were a time of tumultuous change, a turbulent dance of celestial bodies. At first, the planets were like unruly children, roaming free and wild. But over time, they began to settle into their orbits, each finding its own path around the sun, a dance choreographed by the irresistible pull of gravity. This was not a peaceful process. The solar system was a violent place marked by collisions and impacts. The most notable of these was the colossal impact that is thought to have created our moon. Imagine a body about the size of Mars, hurtling through space at incredible speed. It crashes into the young Earth, sending a shower of debris into space. This debris eventually coalesced, forming the moon. A dramatic birth indeed. But the solar system has not always been a place of violence and chaos. Since those early days, it has been relatively peaceful. The planets have settled into their orbits, and the solar system has found a kind of balance. The celestial bodies continue their dance, but it is a dance of order, not chaos. The cosmic ballet goes on, but the music has changed. This is not to say that the solar system is a static place, far from it. The planets continue to move and change, comets and asteroids streak across the sky. The sun itself is a seething ball of energy, constantly in motion, but these are changes within an overall pattern of order and stability. From a chaotic swirl of dust and gas, the violent birth of our solar system gave rise to a place of beauty and order, a testament to the power of nature and the resilience of life.